What's good? It's Khalil Jamar. Hope that all is well with you guys. If this is your first time on my channel, welcome. If it's not your first time on my channel, welcome back. Now today I'm going to be talking about Kali Muscle and how bodybuilders like Kali Muscle end up having to deal with heart complications, as he's not the only one within the fitness industry who's had to deal with some type of heart problem. You have guys like CT Fletcher, Dallas McCarver, Franco Colombo. The list goes on and on when it comes to the amount of bodybuilders or people who have trained like bodybuilders and the heart complications they've had to deal with. Now, while these bodybuilders do, most of them have different reasons, a different culmination of reasons as to why they might have had heart complications. There does seem to be one common similarity amongst them all, and that is the extreme use, almost the abuse of PEDs. And in a sport like bodybuilding, obviously the goal is to have and to achieve the best body that you possibly can achieve. I mean, some of these guys nowadays, they look like characters from animes. I watch a little bit of anime myself. My favorite anime, I don't know if you guys watch anime. If you do, leave it in the comment section. But one of my favorite animes is Baki, and looking at some of the bodybuilders today, they look like they're straight out of the Hanma bloodline. Maybe not Kali Muscle, he's a little bit more tan. He's too tan for the Hanma bloodline. He's probably more relatable or relative to Olivier. But the fact remains, Kali Muscle has been able to achieve this unrealistic type of body, especially back in the day when I was in high school, and Kali Muscle was going viral, not only for his insane physique, but his unorthodox way of eating. He looked absolutely insane. He was one of the first guys that I'd ever seen have a body like that. But alongside the use of PEDs, and let me actually tell you what happens to the heart and what happens to the body when somebody starts to use PEDs to the point where it causes damage to the body. Generally, when somebody is taking steroids or they're using PEDs, sometimes it could lead to plaque buildup within the arteries. Your arteries are the main avenue in which blood is pumped into the heart. And what happens is when plaque builds up, what you want to avoid is if plaque does build up within the arteries, a piece of the plaque can build, a piece of the plaque can break off and end up blocking blood flow to the heart. And that, of course, is going to lead to heart complications. And in the worst case scenario, I think a heart attack. Then you have to look at how Kali Muscle was eating. Like I said, he went viral for eating crazy types of food, and I think he really went viral for eating, putting together cheap food, which generally you don't see people do and have a physique like that. But he was eating, a bunch of junk food, and he would say that's how he got jacked, and that's how he was able to achieve the body that he was able to achieve. I remember one time he had something called like hyphy mud. That name itself should tell you the type of food that Kali Muscle was eating. But you have to add that on to the fact that he is using steroids, probably abusing them as well. The junk food is also going to lead to plaque buildup within the arteries, which is almost like doubling down. It was almost inevitable that Kali Muscle was going to have to deal with some type of heart complication. You could also look at somebody like CT Fletcher as well. He may not have been somebody who used PEDs or steroids to the extent that Kali Muscle did. I think I read somewhere CT Fletcher said that he only took steroids and used PEDs for about 6 months. But regardless of that, even if he didn't, it was kind of also inevitable for him as well, because for 20 years straight, he was eating the same meal from McDonald's, and that meal consisted of 4 Big Macs, I think 4 large orders of fries, 2 apple pies. He probably was adding more to that meal, but that in itself, for 20 years straight eating that every day, again, it's pretty much inevitable that CT Fletcher was going to have to deal with some type of heart complication or heart problem. And I think he's already had 2 or 3 heart attacks, something like that. He's escaped death multiple times. So that should kind of paint the picture as to why Kali Muscle did end up having a heart attack and having to deal with heart complications. Obviously there is a lower risk that a bodybuilder or somebody who takes steroids is going to have a heart attack if they're eating correctly, but still, this is the consequence of overusing steroids. The good news about this, though, and the good thing that comes out of it is Kali Muscle does seem like he's trying to change his direction. He's actually promoting and encouraging people to stay away from steroids and PEDs, and also to maintain a clean and healthy diet. Now, he himself, he's on this watermelon diet now. I'm not sure and 100% sure of the exact science, but according to him, him going on to this watermelon diet is just going to allow his body to cleanse itself and also not overstress itself in breaking down food. And this is great, but it's something that not everybody can afford to do later down the line in life. Not everybody can just switch over to a watermelon diet. There are consequences to using steroids, and I don't think that I have to say that, but because it is more common and it's becoming more prevalent now, a lot more people are honest about taking steroids. I remember when I was younger, people like you were condemned for taking steroids. Nowadays, it kind of seems like, you know, if you're on it, you're on it. If you're not, you're not. People kind of make a joke about it, natty or not. But, you know, that's what it is nowadays. Because of that, I think a lot of people may try to experiment with steroids or PEDs. I read somewhere that about 15 to 30% of people who go to the gym now have experimented with some sort of PED or steroid, which to me, that is a large number of people that are messing around with it, and maybe not all of them know what they're doing with it and what can happen to the body if they continue to use steroids or PEDs to the point where they're now abusing it. Now, if you're a bodybuilder and you compete in bodybuilding, I've said this before on my channel, I can understand in that case, in that scenario, it's something that your life depends on. You're making your life about bodybuilding. And if you're a top tier bodybuilder, to compete with those guys, to compete with those bodybuilders, because a lot of them are already on something, it's most likely that if you're within that world and you're within the spectrum of a top tier bodybuilder, yes, you're probably going to be on steroids and PEDs, but there are consequences in that scenario as well. But the situation is a little bit different. In Kali Muscle, he was never really a bodybuilder. I don't think I've seen him step on stage. If any of you know whether or not he's competed in bodybuilding, leave that in the comment section as well. To me, he was always more of a motivator and an entertainer. But at the end of the day, as I mentioned, it does seem like he's making a change for the better. He's trying to prevent people from making the same mistake that he might have made. But guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about this situation or your opinions on this situation in the comment section. I do want to hear what you guys have to say. Also, if I missed anything about what steroids can do to the body, leave any information that you have in the comment section as well. Make sure that you do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later.